The first 2 weeks of my illness, with all the crises and all, sped by and left me demolished as a person, needing to retreat to my home to be able to gather enough strength. But even here, I was behaving like I was going to die the next day. But everything does speed up, oh, your first appointment is Tuesday, but Thursday we've scheduled your first chemotherapy. Well, hold on a second here. It doesn't have to be that kind of speed, but sometimes people just get in this maelstrom of activity and it's not absolutely necessary. My name's Larry Librach. I have been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer for just now 6 weeks. I'm going to be 67 in another few weeks. I hope I make that time. I'm a palliative care physician and pain physician. I've worked in the cancer field for quite a number of years, and I'm in the middle of my treatment, chemotherapy, although it's on hold because of some complications I've had. And, my journey will be a lot shorter than I thought it would be, but I'm approaching it with a sense that I need to help my family cope during this time, that I need to cope during this time, and that I need to make sure that others understand that basic need which has been driving me for all my professional career, for that person-centered perspective. People always say, well, I'm going to hope for a miracle. My mother-in-law, bless her heart, is Orthodox Jewish, and she's having everybody pray for me, and she says, God is going to deliver me. And I said, that's fine, but what if? And there's always the what if that you need to deal with. And I think with patients, sure, it's hard. You don't have to talk about dying. It's really just talking about, well, if you get into a certain complication, what do you want to have happen to you? The conversation about dying has to enter into it because mostly it's about end-of-life care when you're talking about advanced care planning in cancer. But you need to have those conversations. It's not an unnecessary conversation. But there's still a lot of mythology about if you talk about it now, then something's going to happen. You're going to lose hope and you're not going to fight as hard and those kind of things. Well, hope varies over time, over the illness. So the hope initially is sure for cure. But if I can't be cured, what's my best outcome? If that can't happen, well, what can I hope for? My one hope was to die at home. Because I'd done home palliative care, I knew the value of that for patients, for their families, for their extended families. And so I was, very clear, and most people want to die at home. I mean, that's one of the CPAC's objectives, is to help people with cancer die at home. And I think when you look at it, you can do it. And you don't have to be wealthy to do it. You just have to have the vision, your own vision, personal sense of vision, your own advanced care planning. You have to enroll your family. And then our system, our cancer care system, whether it be home care or hospital-based, has to support all that planning and all those conversations. When you get the diagnosis of cancer, the first thing you think of is dying of cancer anyways. So with that in your mind, you're anxious and all the rest. I think it's really up to healthcare professionals who are looking after you to raise the issues of advanced care planning. Because it will change because your goals of care, which palliative care has been talking about for years, will change over time. So when I'm starting off on chemotherapy, sure, if I end up in the critical care unit because of sepsis, I want it treated to a point. So I need to be able to determine those set points ahead, and over time that will change. I mean, my family know that I do not want to be on any ventilator unless I'm going to be able to come off the ventilator, and there's a surety to that. My family know that if I'm in a persistent vegetative state, I do not want to be kept alive. I don't want food or fluid just to keep me alive because to keep me alive. So I've written all that down. The first week that I was involved with cancer care as a patient, we got our personal powers of attorney for personal care, for economic issues and all that. We got that settled away with the lawyers. You can do it online. There's things, people don't have to spend a lot of money. You can get it notarized for free at any hospital. People don't realize that. I think it's really up to the healthcare professionals to make sure that when you're talking about starting chemotherapy, that people understand the adverse effects, the possibilities that things will go wrong, and that they should have had a conversation with their family at least and their healthcare providers about what they want for themselves, should they not be able to speak for themselves. And people have to realize advanced care planning doesn't mean that somebody else speaks for you while you can still speak. It just means that if you're not able to speak for yourself, that somebody who knows your wishes and preferences can speak for you. I think the thing that people find is that the world does go on without them. And I think that's some of the fright around quitting a job or something like that. And I must admit, over the last, it's been 6 weeks now, the angst of seeing, hey, they're doing quite well without me, it hasn't really bothered me, but at times it intrudes on your consciousness saying, you know, they're doing quite well without you. And then the other voice on the other side of their head, well, what did you think, stupid? Life carries on, our jobs carry on. You hope you've left a legacy enough so that your family carry on in a way you would be proud, and that your work, you know, has been meaningful. Well, it's been a matter of seeing hope as not a fixed object, that it's refocused all the time. I mean, if your hope was to live forever, forget it. There are no immortals among us, and that's been part of the issue. So that idea of hope as a moving target and refocusing on that. But even during my short journey so far, you know, when I was in hospital and had all the issues there, my hope was definitely to get home, because I saw that as a place of refuge, that I control the door. Nobody gets in without my opening the door for them. And the hope was that I would be able to be at home and be more in control. I can tell you from the beginning, I was not hopeful around chemotherapy, that I would even take chemotherapy. That changed when I had a good conversation with my chemotherapist, with my oncologist. You know, so that's the difference, in that you can, you know, take information in and refocus that hope. I was asked what I hoped for. And so that was new to me, and I have to give kudos to my oncologist for asking me that. And there are more than one hope. And so the hope is my family will continue and to prosper and to graduate from university, to have family, to have their own grandkids, you know. So you see that time sort of piece as part of hope, but my hope that I would live forever was never there with me. I was too realistic because of my palliative care background. But I think hope for me, even in a short period of time, has changed. My hope now would be to get a chemotherapy that's gentle, that doesn't leave me with all sorts of adverse effects, but might actually, because I did see some improvement, might actually make my quality of life and my quality of dying better. I still have some major rivers to cross and decision points and all the rest, and I'll have to make those decisions. I think I'm still scared as all heck of dying, because you don't know what's beyond that. And so for me to say, oh, I'm fearless, Fosdick, and I can, you know, face dying, I don't think anybody can do that. And I had a discussion with my rabbi about that. But, you know, I'm still fearful, but with the help of my family and my friends and my care providers, I will approach my death and I think I'll have a reasonably good death. And it won't be defined by my physical suffering. It's all those psychological, emotional, spiritual things that'll make the difference.